Hello, I'm Willie from the Ozarks, and we're ready for our July 14th lesson, 2022, in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students, from the original edition, Lesson 195, Love is the Way I Walk in Gratitude. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love and gratitude must go together, he's going to explain. Gratitude is a lesson hard to learn for those who look upon the world amiss. The most that they can see, the most that they can do is see themselves as better off than others. And they try to be content because another seems to suffer more than they. How pitiful and depreciating are such thoughts. For who has cause for thanks while others have less cause? And who could suffer less because he sees another suffer more? Your gratitude is due to him alone, who made all cause of sorrow disappear throughout the world. We're all in this together. And if our brother's suffering, well, then we need to help relieve their suffering. At least we need to see them in a way to where we are grateful that they're in our lives. It is insane to offer thanks because of suffering, but it is equally insane to fail in gratitude to one who offers you the certain means whereby all pain is healed and suffering replaced with laughter and with happiness. Nor could the even partly sane refuse to take the steps which he directs and follow in the way he sets before them, to escape a prison that they thought contained no door to the deliverance they now perceive. Your brother is your, in quotes, enemy, because you see in him the rival for your peace, a plunderer who takes his joy from you and leaves you nothing but a black despair so bitter and relentless that there is no hope remaining. Now is vengeance all there is to wish for. Now can you but try to bring him down to lie in death with you, as useless as yourself, as little left within his grasping fingers as in yours. You do not offer God your gratitude because your brother is more slave than you, nor could you sanely be enraged if he seems freer. Love makes no comparisons, and gratitude can only be sincere if it is joined to love. We offer thanks to God our Father that in us all things will find their freedom. It will never be that some are loosed while others still are bound, for who can bargain in the name of love? Therefore, give thanks, but in sincerity, and let your gratitude make room for all who will escape with you, the sick, the weak, the needy and afraid, and those who mourn a seeming loss or feel apparent pain, who suffer cold or hunger, or who walk the way of hatred and the path of death. All these go with you. Let us not compare ourselves with them, for thus we split them off in our awareness from the unity we share with them, as they must share with us. We thank our Father for one thing alone, that we are separate from no living thing, and therefore one with him. And we rejoice that no exceptions ever can be made which would reduce our wholeness, nor impair our change, or repair. Let me read that again. And we rejoice that no exception ever can be made which would reduce our wholeness, nor impair or change our function to complete the one who is himself completion. We give thanks for every living thing. We give thanks for every living thing. For otherwise we offer thanks for nothing, and we fail to recognize the gifts of God to us. Then let our brothers lean their tired heads against our shoulders as they rest a while. We offer thanks for them. For if we can direct them to the peace that we would find, the way is opening at last to us. An ancient door is swinging free again. A long forgotten word re-echoes in our memory and gathers clarity as we are willing once again to hear. Walk then in gratitude the way of love. Walk then in gratitude the way of love. Walk then in gratitude the way of love. And if you all would just give me a moment to, I need to blow my nose. Excuse me there. Then let our brother, walk then in gratitude the way of love. For hatred is forgotten when we lay comparisons aside. What more remains as obstacles to peace? The fear of God is now undone at last, and we forgive without comparing. Thus we cannot choose to overlook some things and yet retain some other things still locked away as sins. When your forgiveness is complete, you will have total gratitude, for you will see that everything has earned the right to love by being loving, even as yourself. Wow, listen to that. When your forgiveness is complete, when your forgiveness is complete, you will have total gratitude. Do you have total gratitude? Are you grateful for everybody, everything, all the time? Well, you just haven't yet learned to forgive everybody for everything all the time. When your forgiveness is complete, you will have total gratitude, for you will see that everything has earned the right to love by being loving, even as yourself, capitalized S in self. Today we learn to think of gratitude in place of anger, malice, and revenge. We have been given everything. If we refuse to recognize it, we are not entitled, therefore, to our bitterness and to a self-perception which regards us in a place of merciless pursuit, where we are badgered ceaselessly and pushed about without a thought or care for us or for our future. Gratitude becomes the single thought we substitute for these insane perceptions. God has cared for us and calls us son. Can there be more than this? Our gratitude will pave the way to Him and shorten our learning time by more than you could ever dream of. Our gratitude will pave the way to Him and shorten our learning time by more than you could ever dream of. Gratitude goes hand in hand with love, and where one is, the other must be found. Where love is, there you're going to find gratitude. Where gratitude is, you're going to find love. They go hand in hand. For gratitude is but an aspect of the love which is the source of all creation. God gives thanks to you, His Son, for being what you are, His own completion and the source of love, along with Him. Your gratitude to Him is one with His to you. For love can walk no road except the way of gratitude, and thus we go who walk the way to God. Isn't that beautiful? Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Let's look at that last paragraph one last time. Our gratitude will pave the way to Him and shorten our learning time by more than you could ever dream of. Gratitude goes hand in hand with love, and where one is, the other must be found. For gratitude is but an aspect of the love which is the source of all creation. God gives thanks to you, His Son, for being what you are, His own completion and the source of love, along with Him. Your gratitude to Him is one with His to you. Your gratitude to Him is one with His to you. For love can walk no road except the way of gratitude. And thus we go, who walk the way to God. All right. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. All right. Let's go take a look at our text reading. And we're ready for, I want to start, we're in chapter 22, Salvation in the Holy Relationship. Section 4, Reason in the Holy Relationship. Let's pick up in paragraph 32. I know we made it to 34 last time, but I like to start in 32. And we'll read the rest of that section. While you're turning there, let me tell you about a couple things. Out of the Seed Savers Exchange, I want to tell you about the red Burgundy okra, also known simply as Burgundy. This high-yielding variety offers stunning 4-foot plants with burgundy accents and tender burgundy pods that grow to 6 inches long. It was bred by Leon Robbins at Clemson University after 8 years of careful selection, introduced in 1983 and named an All-American Selection winner in 1988. It's 55 to 60 day, and that's the red Burgundy from the Seed Savers Exchange. And I also want to tell you a little bit more about Yarrow. I'm going to read to you a little bit out of the Encyclopedia of Herbs and Spices. I don't know if you can see that, kind of sun shining through here. The Encyclopedia of Herbs and Spices. And I've got another piece of yarrow. Let me hold it up here. Another yarrow plant. See how the flowers this time of year? Remember, it was flowering way up in the mountains, and it's also flowering back here in the Ozarks. I'm here at my place, down here by a little spring. I wanted to see if it was flowing, which it is. And I'm going to let you look at it a little closer in just a few minutes. Anyway, some things about yarrow. And I didn't tell you that one of the things is that these leaves, you probably want to get more than just one, but rub them up in your hand, and you can put them under your arms as a deodorant on days like today when you're sweating a lot and you need to be somewhere and you just don't want to smell like you've been sweating all day. The antimicrobial properties and the scent they have lend them to making a nice deodorant as well as a nice a mosquito repellent. Rub it on your hands. I think I told you about that. But there's your yarrow. And while I'm holding up here, some other names for it is milfoil, nosebleed, herb militaris, soldier's woundwort, thousand leaf, thousand seal, and field hop. And of course, the scientific name is Achillea millefolium. Description: hardy, herbaceous, pungent perennial, 6 to 24 inches, finely feathered, bright green, gray-green leaves, and flat heads of small white, pink, or red flowers. Flowers midsummer to autumn, grows in grassy places, including lawns. Uses: folk remedy for rheumatism, toothache, hemorrhage, and fever. Fresh young leaves used sparingly in salads. Herbal tobacco, and substitute for hops in brewing. So you can use it for a tobacco substitute. Probably doesn't have nicotine in it. Probably better for you. Might be a lot of different things if you smoked and you're trying to get off. I know sage, and there's several different things. Indian tobacco, I think it's maybe lobelia, but there's several things that you can use to smoke that that don't have nicotine that might help you to get off of cigarettes. If you do smoke cigarettes and you're trying to get off of them, I do encourage you to smoke pure tobacco instead of something that's like an organic tobacco. There are some out there. That way you're not getting the chemical hooks that some. My teacher told me that many of the tobacco manufacturers add things to them that make you come back to them. So at least, stick with just tobacco. And they're saying this can be used as a tobacco substitute. Cultivation: prefers full sun and well-drained ground, good for chalky and seaside gardens. Spreads readily, so segregate from other plants. Divide roots in spring or autumn, or sow seeds from spring until autumn. Plant 6 inches apart for lawns. I never heard of a lawn with using this, but evidently people have done it. Parts used, the top growth, cut just before flowering, dry outdoors in the shade, or in gentle heat indoors. Okay, so there's your yarrow. All right, I told you I wanted to show you a little bit more about spring. Let me just show you a little bit while we're sitting here. That sun's a little bit bright. Hope that. I just want to show you when you're I was out here and I wanted to come down in spring and make sure it's still flowing. And you probably can't really see real well, but see all that water? Anyway, it's you can I always drink out of this spring, and I just kind of wanted to show you. I wouldn't really encourage you to drink out of a spring you don't know about, but I've been drinking out of this one for years. It's here on my place, and when I'm down this part of the property, I a lot of times will come down here and get a drink. So anyway, but be aware, it's not always good to drink out of just an unknown spring. All right, let's go ahead and pick up in paragraph 32. Only the form of error attracts the ego, meaning it does not recognize and does not know if it is there or not. Everything which the body's eyes can see is a mistake, an error in perception, a distorted fragment of the whole, without the meaning the whole would give. Look at that little dragonfly landed on my hand. And yet mistakes, regardless of their form, can be corrected. Sin is but error in a special form the ego venerates. It would preserve all errors and make them sins. For here is its own stability, its heavy anchor in the shifting world it made, the rock on which its church is built, and where its worshippers are bound to bodies and believe the body's freedom is their own. 33. Reason will tell you that the form of error is not what makes it a mistake. If what the form conceals is a mistake, the form cannot prevent correction. The body's eyes see only form. They cannot see beyond what they were made to see, and they were made to look on error and not see past it. Theirs is indeed a strange perception, for they can see only illusions, unable to look beyond the granite block of sin, and stopping at the outside form of nothing. To this distorted form of vision, the outside of everything, the wall that stands between you and the truth, is wholly true. Yet how can sight which stops at nothingness as if it were a solid wall see truly? It is held back by form, having been made to guarantee that nothing else but form will be perceived. These eyes, made not to see, will never see, for the idea they represent left not its maker, and it is their maker that sees through them. What was its maker's goal but not to see? He's talking about the ego making the body. For this the body's eyes are perfect means, for not for seeing. But not for seeing. And he's using seeing in a different way than biological, isn't he? For this the body's eyes are perfect means, but not for seeing. In other words, the body's eyes are perfect for proving that separation exists, that there's a body over there and I'm a body over here, and that we can maybe attack each other or hurt each other or be separated from each other, all of which is not really seeing, is what he's trying to say. These eyes, made not to see, will never see, for the idea they represent left not its maker, and it is their maker that sees through them. What was its maker's goal but not to see? For this the body's eyes are perfect means, but not for seeing. See how the body's eyes rest on externals and cannot go beyond? Watch how they stop at nothingness, unable to go beyond the form to meaning. Nothing so blinding as perception of form. For sight of form means understanding has been obscured. 35. Only mistakes have different forms, and so they can deceive. You can change form because it is not true. It could not be reality because it can be changed. Isn't that something? It can't be reality because it can be changed. So reality is changeless, we're learning. Reason will tell you that if form is not reality, it must be an illusion and is not there to see. And if you see it, you must be mistaken, for you are seeing what cannot be real as if it were. What cannot see beyond what is not there must be distorted perception and must perceive illusion as the truth. Could it then recognize the truth? 36. Let not the form of his mistakes keep you from him whose holiness is yours. Let not the vision of his holiness, the sight of which would show you your forgiveness, be kept from you by what the body's eyes can see. Let your awareness of your brother not be blocked by your perception of his sins and of his body. What is there in him that you would attack except what you associate with his body, which you believe can sin? Beyond his errors is his holiness and your salvation. Beyond his errors is his holiness and your salvation. And how are we going to get there? Well, we're gonna get there, see the truth, going beyond what the eyes can see, the body's eyes, and see what is really there by our practice of forgiveness. And we'll know we've done it when we have gratitude. Okay? You gave him not his holiness, but tried to see your sins in him and to save yourself. And yet his holiness is your forgiveness. Can you be saved by making sinful the one whose holiness is your salvation? And the last paragraph for today, 37. A holy relationship, however newly born, must value holiness above all else. A holy relationship, however newly born, must value holiness or sinlessness above all else. And we're going to see that sinlessness, and we're going to do it until we're feeling gratitude and actually giving sincere gratitude. All right? Unholy values will produce confusion and unawareness. In an unholy relationship, each one is valued because he seems to justify the other's sin. He sees within the other what impels him to sin against his will, and thus he lays his sin upon the other and is attracted to him to perpetuate his sins. And so it must become impossible for each to see himself as causing sin by his desire to have sin real. Yet reason sees a holy relationship as what it is, a common state of mind, where both give errors gladly to correction, that both may happily be healed as one. Wow, what a beautiful reason to join, to see each other as holy. Let's read that last little bit again. Let's read the whole last paragraph. A holy relationship, however newly born, must value holiness above all else. Holiness above all else. We know that that entails innocence, sinlessness, gratitude. Unholy values will produce confusion and unawareness. So confusion and awareness from unholy values, to see someone as sinful or not feeling appreciative of them, grateful of them. In an unholy relationship, each one is valued because he seems to justify the other's sin. He sees within the other what impels him to sin against his will, and thus he lays his sin upon the other and is attracted to him to perpetuate his sins. And so it must become impossible for each to see himself as causing sin by his desire to have sin real. What the closest that I can come to an example is I've been around some people that when I start talking to them, I find that they want to justify how people have treated them wrongly, and they seem to talk about that. Well, that's this idea that He sees within the other what impels him to sin against his will, and thus he lays his sins upon the other and is attracted to him to perpetuate his sins. And so it must become impossible for each to see himself as causing sin by his desire to have sin real. Since he thinks that sin is real, or attack is real, condemnation is real, then he talks about it, and instead he needs to let it go and practice forgiveness, realize he's only talking about an illusion, and do that until he finds that the gratitude that he shares with him in his creation. So it must become impossible for each to see himself as causing sin by his desire to have sin real. Yet reason sees a holy relationship as what it is, a common state of mind, where both give errors gladly to correction, that both may happily be healed as one. Yet reason sees a holy relationship as what it is, a common state of mind, where both give errors gladly to correction, that both may happily be healed as one. That's what we want to do, isn't it? All right. Well, until tomorrow, be sure you keep practicing that very thing. And that's what you'll be doing in your lesson. You'll be saying, love is the way I walk in gratitude. And really feel it. Remember, you're going to get to that place of feeling love is the way I walk in gratitude. You're going to get to that by your practice of forgiveness, by letting go of the illusion that you think that you are being attacked or criticized or impositioned, or in any way, anything that diminishes you and you feel like you're invulnerable and you got to protect yourself from the other that seems to be over there, not you. Remember, we're all part of the same one, and we want to see our love in everyone, and that's what brings us together. All right? Love is the way I walk in gratitude. All right? Hey, and just before we close here, let me just let you see a little bit more of this. See, I'm down at the bottom of this little draw, and it's a little creek, dry creek bed, and it runs underground. And here at the bluff, right here where the water actually comes out, is fairly like I said, it. See this right here? You can hear that splash around. It's really clear water, and it's always nice place to drink. All right. Well, listen, you all, if you're out hiking and find a spring, I don't know exactly how to tell you to test it for purity. Be aware that you just don't want to drink out of all springs because they're not all pure. Like I said, I've been drinking out of this one for many years, and I don't have much concern about it. Anyway. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Thank you so much for joining me on this hot July day. I'm a couple days, maybe actually, I think today's the 14th. I'm actually recording this on the 14th, and it's for you'll be listening to it, I think, you'll be listening to it on the 14th, and I'm recording it on the 11th, so I'm about 3 days ahead of you. It's taken me a long time to get it uploaded, so I had to jump ahead. I feel like I'm on a wagon train across the way, and I had to run ahead to make sure we're going the right way. It's taken me a long time to get it uploaded on the YouTube. But until tomorrow, be sure to do your 2 extended periods and your hourly remembrance, and tell yourself, love is the way I walk in gratitude. Be sure to feel that gratefulness towards everyone, even those who you think about. And that's how you'll know you're practicing your forgiveness. Love is the way I walk in gratitude.